Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to tackle one of the very many cakes in this book, The Great British Baking Show Love to Bake. It's a hummingbird cake today, which is vegan, which is interesting because I have not really done much vegan cooking, so we will see how that goes. Basically there's no eggs, and it's a vegan butter, which the eggs thing is good because eggs are super expensive right now. So what I've done so far, just to kind of get us ready, is we have pecans in this recipe. So I have already toasted them. I just had the oven at 355 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius, and I just toasted them for about 7 minutes. So they're cooling so I can get the next step going. I'm also supposed to be making an apple puree. So it said to use 2 small eating apples, peeled, cored, and sliced. And then you need to, make the puree by having the apples in a pan with 1 tablespoon of water. That's not very much water for, these apples. So I'm just kind of hoping that this, cooks them down. I'm not really too hopeful. But we'll see. They're supposed to simmer for 10 minutes, but there's really no water to actually see it simmer. So I might add a little bit more water because they're not going to get soft this way. So we're on step 1 and I'm already a little questioning what's going on. But we're just going to let those simmer for a few minutes. The apple puree is finally starting to soften up. It's been more like 20 minutes, even though it said 10. And I had to bump it up to a medium heat to get it to even simmer, and it says low heat. So maybe my oven's just a little off, but or my stove. But anyway, it's starting to soften up now, so I'm just about ready to take it off, and then I just got to let it cool slightly before I make it an actual puree. Okay, while I'm letting that cool a little bit, I did go ahead and chop up my pecans because it took so long for that to simmer. I just went ahead and roughly chopped those because they were getting cool. So they're all ready to go. 100 grams of pecans here. All right, so we've got the apples all cooked up. And so I'm just going to put them in this other bowl here so that I can blitz them a little bit and make them a puree. Okay, so I've got fancy new tool, another one I got for my birthday. And so I just need to blitz it a little bit so that I can make it into more of a liquid than a solid. Okay. It doesn't necessarily say that it needs to be a very fine puree, so I'm just going to go with that. Okay. Now what I need to do is I'm just going to measure out 150 grams of this so that I am ready to start making the cake itself. All right, perfect, 150 grams. Pumpkin says hi again. My cat, if I haven't said her name. So now we are ready to actually make the cake itself. So let us, got the pecans. We need to pour the oil into the bowl of our stand mixer. All right, so I have 180 milliliters of vegetable oil all ready to go. And I need to add the brown sugar and castor sugar. So light brown sugar, 160 grams of that, along with 150 grams of castor sugar. Now it's supposed to be golden castor sugar, but as I've said on the show before, we don't have castor sugar in the States, so golden castor sugar is really just not an option. But you can just blitz some granulated sugar in a food processor processor or a coffee grinder or something and make caster sugar. I'm not actually sure what makes it gold. I was not able to do a ton of looking into that because it just said a good substitute or the best substitute is just regular caster sugar. So that's what I'm going with. And then we need to do our vanilla, which is our vanilla paste. I have my teaspoon of vanilla paste already in with my 270 grams of mashed bananas. We have bananas in here as well as apples. So 100 or 270 grams of bananas, which is perfectly 3 bananas, or at least perfectly the 3 bananas I picked. It says 3, but then it says to measure it out. So I just picked the correct 3 bananas. And with our apple puree. So we've got our 150 grams of our apple puree. So this is a very fruity cake. Bananas, apples. The toppings, like the decorations, are going to be kind of fruity. There's some almond milk and coconut. So it's going to be interesting. That's for sure. All right. And then we're going to whisk this on medium speed for 2 minutes until combined. Okay, that looks pretty well combined to me. Now I am going to remove this bowl completely from our mixer. We're done with the mixer at this point. Okay, so our next step is to sift in. I've already sifted flour. We have 330 grams of plain flour. We've got some baking powder, so a teaspoon and a half of that, a teaspoon and a half of baking soda, cinnamon, nutmeg, 2 teaspoons cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, and then we are just going to put this in. So it's already sifted, and we're going to gently fold it into the cake mix here. Now, I only made that face because I need to work on my technique of folding. I see all sorts of things on how to do it, but I don't get it. I don't know why I can't understand folding. They always say something like cut it in half and then just tip it over. I don't know. It just never looks like it combines it. Anyway, because I'm assuming all the air that I just whipped into it will knock out if I don't gently fold it. And then I'll have like flat cakes, which no one wants that. They always look like they're way rougher than I am on TV. Okay, it is a thick batter. It does say to fold it into a thick batter, so I'm on the right track. And now I need to add the almond milk. Okay, so I've got to get 30 milliliters of almond milk. I've, had the occasion where I drank almond milk, but it's been a while. 30 milliliters of almond milk. And the pineapple, so we've got, how much was in here? 200 grams of drained and crushed pineapple. Okay. And then our pecans. I think all of them, all 100 grams. Yep. Okay, so slide those pecans in there. So you can see this is a very, I kind of think it's like tropical sounding. It's kind of why I picked it. We're in the middle of winter here. I'm ready for a little bit of a springy feel. Okay, fold gently. Part of me was like, couldn't we have folded this all in at once? So then I don't have to do it twice. It looks good. I see a lot of the pineapple and the pecans. Pecans or pecans? Pecan? I don't know. You can tell me in the comments which one you think it is. Though I don't really know how you'd have to like phonetically spell it out. for me to know which one you're talking about. Okay, we have, and it literally says don't overmix. Okay, so that's why I'm not doing it very long. Divide the mixture equally between my lined sandwich tins. Okay, I have lined my sandwich tins, or cake tins. Okay, this recipe calls for 8-inch, or I don't know, what is that, 20 centimeters sandwich tins. Now it said greased. No, they usually say greased and then lined. This one said oiled, then base lined. So since we have vegetable oil in this recipe, I used vegetable oil because I don't really know what other oil. My mom or I would usually use Crisco, but I'm just trying to follow the recipe. Anyway, and then I cut some paper just for the base because that's what it says. So I've got to equally divide it between these 3 sandwich tins, which are just cake tins. Okay. Part of me wishes I would like measure out the grams on these so I could get the exact halves, you know, or thirds in this case. All right, I think that is as equal as I'm going to get it. Now these need to go into my preheated oven at 355 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius for 25 to 30 minutes. It does tell me to put 2 sponges on the middle rack and 1 on the top, so I kind of adjusted my racks a little bit so that they were a little bit more spaced that well. But they need to be well risen, dark toffee color, and a skewer comes out clean. So let's give it a try. Okay, it's been 25 minutes. I'm going to give them a check. It's coming out clean. Yeah, they're good. All right. They look really good. Smells good. The top one on the top rack isn't as browned on top as the other 2. It's a little weird. Seems backwards to me, but it looks good. So now I have to leave them in their tins to cool completely. I don't remove them after a certain time or anything. It says let them cool completely. So I imagine that's going to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to let them cool some, and then I'll get started on the sauce, the caramel sauce, and the vanilla frosting. Okay, I am all ready to start making the caramel sauce for our hummingbird cake. So we have coconut milk in our caramel sauce. So I have 50 milliliters of coconut milk, which I didn't realize coconut milk was more pasty, or at least the stuff I have. There was some liquid in the can, but I did take 2 teaspoons, I think is what it was. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong spot. I did take, 2 teaspoons of the coconut milk and have it kind of reserved for a little bit, but I'm going to put the rest of it here in my little pan. And I'm just going to turn my little pan on low to kind of melt that down. I'm also going to add some light brown sugar. So it's, let's see, 50 or 75 grams of light brown sugar to go in with my coconut milk. Okay, and I also need syrup. It says golden syrup. We don't have golden syrup in the States. So the best substitutes would be like maple syrup, or honey is another thing that I saw listed. So I just need a half a teaspoon of honey. If anybody wants to tell me otherwise that honey's not a good substitute, I'm all ears. Okay, all right. And then we also need sugar and vanilla. So I need a little bit more of my vanilla paste. I need 1/4 of a teaspoon of that. just this little guy here. Makes sense, it's not very much. So I just need to cook this over low heat until the sugar dissolves. Okay, I think all the sugar is dissolved, or at least from what I can tell. It's kind of hard to tell because the sugar is brown and so is the sauce. But what I got now is the half teaspoon that I reserved of the coconut milk, or no, it was 2 teaspoons, sorry. And then I have a half a teaspoon of corn flour. Yep. And I'm just going to make a paste out of this. I'm just going to do it right over top. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to whisk it into the hot sauce. I'm not really sure why we couldn't just add that to begin with, but that's what it says to do. Something about the corn flour didn't want it to be in there when the sugar was dissolving. So there we are. Okay, so I've got my paste of corn flour and coconut milk, and I'm going to whisk it into the hot sauce. Okay. Move this out of the way. And then I need to bring this to a boil, so I'm going to turn it up a little. Okay. My paste is definitely all in there. Now it does say bring to a boil, reduce the heat, and simmer for 5 minutes until the sauce is reduced by half into a thick syrupy consistency. I don't know if you're supposed to stir it while you're simmering it. I don't know. It doesn't say. And I know there's something you're supposed to do specific with caramel. So I'm probably going to take the road of stirring occasionally, even though it doesn't say it. I don't know how you would just let it sit. I don't know. Feels like it would burn on the bottom. But maybe that's just me. So I'm trying to get it up to boiling, and then I'll simmer it for 5 minutes. Okay, that seems to be that thick, syrupy consistency. All right, and it was about 5 minutes simmering. So I'm going to take that off the heat and let it cool. And now we can go on to making the frosting. All right, so what I need to do to make the frosting is I need my 400 grams of sifted icing sugar, powdered sugar. I'm going to put that in my stand mixer. Okay, and then I need vegan spread. So instead of butter, we're using vegan butter, plant butter. It's 125 grams of that. It looks and cuts just like regular butter. I don't know necessarily how they make it, but you know. And vanilla paste. So I need a little bit more vanilla paste for this recipe. I need 1 teaspoon of that. Okay. And then if I need it, I can use some almond milk. It says a tablespoon of almond milk if needed. So I'm going to slowly mix this up a little bit and see if I need any liquid for it. I'm not quite sure how this is going to come together without that almond milk, but I'll give it another minute or two here. Okay, I'm going to add the almond milk. It's not coming together. I gave it a couple minutes. I've chunked up as much of the spread as I can, but there's not enough liquid. I mean, 400 grams of sugar to 125 grams of butter, that just doesn't work. So anyway, I'm going to add the tablespoon of almond milk. and hope that that helps it come together, because I'm just getting powdered sugar dusted everywhere. Okay, that's looking more like icing. Frosting. We could have that debate in the comments too. Is it icing or is it frosting? I think it's icing. Anyway, to each his own. But yes, the almond milk seems to be necessary. I'm not sure why it says if needed, because it was not going to come together. So I'm going to beat this for just another couple minutes here just to get it nice and fluffy. Maybe add just a hair more almond milk to loosen it up a little, so I don't have to squeeze my hand off to pipe it. And then we're good to go. I actually really like that you can see like the little vanilla bean seed. I don't know. Is it the seeds? You can see the little, vanilla bean stuff in there. So that's really cool. All right, now we just need to decorate. So, okay, I'm ready to decorate my hummingbird cake. I'm pretty excited. All right, so first off, I've got my icing in my little bags. I'm just going to put a squirt down just to secure that first cake. All right, and then we'll just get these out of here. I did already loosen around the edges, but that was it. All right. It comes right off. Look at that. We're committed now. All right. And now I just need to pipe some icing around the top with a little frosting. And then drizzle some caramel over that. So I don't know if there's supposed to be like a specific amount of frosting, but here we go. Just looking at how much frosting I have, and I'm thinking I'm overdoing that a little bit. So I'm just going to spread this because I got to do another in between and then on top. And the top part you really need to coat, so it doesn't seem like a ton of frosting, but I don't have a lot in my bowl yet, so I don't want to overdo it on the first layer. Drizzle caramel. Doesn't necessarily say how to. I guess just drizzle it. And do like a swirl in here. I think I let it sit a little too long. It took me a little bit longer to reorganize than I was planning. This is just the inside layer, right? No one's going to see it. Okay, now we're going to go to our next one. Again, which way's up? Okay, this is a naked cake, so that is what it is on the sides. I should really go a little bit closer to the edge with the frosting. Yeah, there's just not a whole lot of icing for a 3-layer cake like this. It's a little concerning. Maybe I just like more frosting than they do over in England. All right, and then some drizzled caramel. I really did get stiff in this bag. It is still warm, so it's not like it's, oh my goodness. Do a little bit of caramel This is more like toffee. I think I overboiled it. Isn't that what they always say on the show, on the Great British Baking Show? Oh, this is toffee. Sorry for my crappy British accent. Oh well, it's still gonna taste good, right? Just the texture's gonna be all wrong. Okay, last layer. There we go. Okay. Now this one is the one I have to make it pretty, right? I'm not very patient, I don't think. Nobody got time to just do concentric circles on the top of the cake. I don't know how to get this caramel out. I think I'm going to have to skip the caramel on the top. It's just, there's no way it's going to drizzle. And I'm not remaking it. I'm not that dedicated. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's just going to ruin it on top. It's in the middle. But now I just get to decorate, which is just fun. It suggested some pineapples and pecans and blueberries, so I have some of that. And I'm not going to use the picture because who does that? But we'll just do some fun decorating and see how bad I can make it. I don't know, I think it's pretty. It's simple. I wish I did have the caramel to kind of drizzle over. You know what, I'm going to cheat a little bit. It would have been fine. Yeah, we're just going to drizzle. It's fine. There. I think that looks good. Okay, look at our hummingbird cake. Yeah, the drizzle needed to happen, but I wasn't going to try to squeeze out that. Okay, everybody, I have got a slice of the hummingbird cake all ready to go. I mean, I'm just, like, I'm impressed. This looks really good. It does. It's got nice color, and, you know, now we'll just have to see if it has nice taste. It smells like a spice cake. If you've ever made a spice cake, it does. So we'll see. Apparently, my youngest wanted to join. Didn't want to miss out on the cake. Can you say hi? Hi. So the icing kind of tastes like cream cheese almost, which is interesting. You want to taste them? Yeah. Yeah? Here you go. It's good. It's funny because there's no like pumpkin or anything, but that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from it. Yeah. It's good. The texture is really good. I'll show you a little bit. Yeah, it's nice and airy. It didn't like, it's not flat, so that's good. I must have only folded just enough, but I really like it. Yeah, it's good. It's different. No eggs means it's cheaper, right? You want some more? All right. Well, that was good. Took a long time. Not exactly my favorite bake as far as, because, I mean, it's a cake. It's going to take a long time. So that's just the thing. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, got to this point, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And go watch some other videos. There's some really good ones out there. And then I will see you next bake. Bye. Bye.